get into it.
Just get into it. That's how I always.
What are we getting into today?
Today I'm going to be making a dish that I grew up eating. Some people do it with potatoes. Some people make it with bread. It's a rice dish called sabzi polo. Sabzi means herbs, polo means rice. So we're going to be making a rice dish that has a lot of herbs and a few different other things that are a little less traditional. I'm going to take you through step by step and how to kind of master making the rice and getting that burnt crust that a lot of you might know about, some of you might not know about, but you're going to know by the end of this video, called tadik. Okay, first we're going to start with 3 cups of rice. This is basmati rice, which is a long grain variety. When it's aged properly and you see this color, that's kind of the indicator where you know that it's going to have that fragrant basmati smell. This is really good basmati, and I say that just because a lot of the basmati you'll see is it's a lot more pale. This has like a beige color to it. It's almost golden, and it's a little bit ashy. You want that. That means that the rice has been aged properly. The ones that are a little bit more pale or almost look white, that means they haven't been aged properly, which means it's not going to be as long, it's not going to be as fluffy, it's not going to be as fragrant. We're going to take the 3 cups of rice and we're going to rinse it. You could place this in a colander or a sieve. I just do it in a large bowl so I can really see the water and see how cloudy it gets. And you see the water's already really cloudy. So I'm gonna rinse this a few times, and I'm gonna just keep rinsing until the water is clear. I'm gonna add, say, about 3 tablespoons, almost as salty as the ocean. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm just going to be slicing them into thin rounds. I'm going to use a mandolin. You could use a knife. A mandolin is just a little bit more exact. And I'm going to be kind of crisping them, frying them in oil. This is not traditional. My mom didn't do this, but I love like crispy shallots. They just give a really kind of oniony, a wonderful oniony flavor to the dish. If you don't want to use shallots, or you don't even want to fry shallots, you could always just take some onions, thinly slice them, and then cook them down in oil until they're kind of lacy and brown at the edges. Okay, so I'm going to take the shallots, I peel them, and I'm just going to slice them into rounds using a mandolin. Again, you can use a knife if you want, but with the mandolin, if you're careful, you can go really fast. If you really want to make this dish, but you want to skip the shallot bit, you could totally do that. I'm not going to like be upset if you do that. I think the big part of this dish is the rice and the herbs and making the herby rice. Okay, I'm gonna place shallots in a small saucepan, and then I'm gonna pour some neutral oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, peanut oil, whatever you want to use. Just don't use olive oil, and I'm gonna pour it covered by maybe ½ an inch, and then I'm gonna place this over medium heat. This is going to take some time. You want to start with cold oil. By starting with cold oil, the shallots are going to fry evenly. The texture is going to be more even. They're all going to be kind of crispy. So start from cold oil, medium heat. Let that go. It's going to start to bubble, and once it's a bubble, you're going to need to watch it because it could happen relatively fast. So the herbs that we're going to use for this dish, the traditional ones, the ones that I grew up with, and pretty much you see in a lot of the herb-filled dishes in Iran, are cilantro, dill, parsley. I threw in some tarragon just because I like it. You don't have to do that, but you should definitely use a mix of herbs so it's just not one note. I'm kind of going over and over this parsley, which is definitely bruising the herbs, but it's okay in this case because they're going to be cooked to death.
Swing that mid-roll.
There yet. This is the direction on the breakfast sandwich.
Okay, I'm into it. Looks great.
The idea is like onion bacon. Okay.
Yeah.
The cheese isn't sharp enough. I didn't put salt in the eggs because I was like showing off to myself, like just doing this like new egg cooking technique.
Yeah. I'm
It's
sold.
just basic concept.
Oh yeah.
Make your onion.
Where's that bread from?
It's like health food store, like English.
Is it a roll though? Oh, it is the English muffin.
It's an English
okay.
muffin, but it's like so like dense and like square.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, but I think it's like the best thing to do because nobody's gonna find a whole wheat roll or like a cool seeded
A speck
something.
of green anywhere?
No, but there could be.
There could be.
If there was a thing to do that was green, it would be like I feel like it would be like a green hot sauce.
It's hot, yeah,
like
green hot sauce.
herby hot
Yeah.
sauce. Like
Yeah.
maybe you take like a green hot sauce and you like herb it up.
Yeah. That sounds great.
All right, we're gonna get
Okay,
some green
I'm
hot
sold.
sauce.
What you're going for is about 3 cups very finely chopped herbs.
You're not bringing back Herb Slayer for this?
No, I think I retired that knife. I
What?
think I'm gonna give it away somewhere.
We called Andy's knife Herb Slayer because
It was
the
a tenant, or
It was a phase.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You rolled in here a few years ago, and it was just like mountains of herbs, and then like a lot of
a lot of confusion,
a lot of doubt, a lot of
doubt.
seasoned peaches.
Yeah. Yeah, don't bring a big knife to the
lot of
kitchen.
couscous.
A lot of couscous, a lot of
Lot of
dark
agita.
time.
Lot of agita.
The shallots are at a good color. I'm going to turn this heat off because they're going to darken a little bit as I scoop them out. You see? You want to scatter them all over so they don't steam. I'm going to season them with salt while they're still hot. And then give them a little bit of a toss. I have 4 scallions right now. I'm using these as a substitute. You'll see in the recipe that I call for green garlic. It's still a little too early right now, and we haven't been able to find green garlic in New York. I love green garlic, so if you can find it, please use it. It has this kind of mild, fresh garlic flavor that I love. I'm just gonna cut these. I'll keep this kind of separate. I'm bringing my mortar and pestle out. I'm sure you guys know by now I love it. If you guys don't have a mortar and pestle, you guys can use a spice mill. Just make sure it's clean. So I have about a teaspoon of saffron threads. I'm gonna add a pinch of kosher salt, and I'm just gonna break that down. Okay, so you have the saffron that's been pretty finely ground. I'm gonna add some hot water. Okay, so that was 3 tablespoons of hot water. I'm going to pour the saffron water into a bowl. Very nice. I'm gonna get that really lovely color right over there. So we have our herbs, our 3 cups finely chopped herbs, some scallions. That's in case if you can't find green garlic, and we have our saffron water. We're gonna check on, and we have our fried shells. Next, we're gonna parboil our. We're gonna parboil our rice. Now, first, I would just want you guys to look at it. This is our rice that has been soaking. So this has been soaking for about 2 hours, but you can definitely, after 40 minutes, that's enough of a soak, but it can soak for up to 6 hours. I'm gonna drain this. This doesn't need to be rinsed. The soaked rice doesn't need to be rinsed. Okay, so we have a pot of boiling water. I'm gonna add some more salt to this. This is going to be kind of the last bit of seasoning of the rice. We might taste and adjust at the very end. So I'm gonna add a good amount of salt. Next, we're gonna add the rice. Make sure you get all the grains. Right away, what I do is I take a wooden spoon and I give it a few swirls. You're gonna boil the rice until the rice starts to rise to the top, almost dance, and you're gonna cook it till it's al dente. That means you should see like almost a white dot in the center. It won't be fully cooked, it won't be fully tender. Now, depending on your rice, this part can take as little as 6 minutes, depending on the quality, how long your rice has been aging, to up to maybe 12, 14 minutes. It shouldn't really take that much longer, especially if you're soaking your rice. And also, the longer you soak your rice, the less likely, the less time it's going to take for it to be al dente. As soon as I see a bit of the rice over here rising to the top, that's kind of my indicator, and I already have seen some. So I'm going to taste Just a bit of... And there we have it. That's been 3-4 minutes. I'm gonna just turn that off. I'm gonna drain this. You don't want to do hot water, you want to do cold water to get the remaining grains out because you don't want the rice to keep cooking. And I just pour that over, and then I give this a bit of a shake to get rid of any excess water. If there's too much water, your rice is going to get mushy, but just from here, you're in a really good place right now. I'm pretty proud. Look how long these grains are. That's a really long grain of rice. What you do here is first you rinse the rice to get rid of the excess starch. You soak the rice so that you can cut the cooking time, but it also further prevents the rice from sticking. And then you parboil it, and that also gets rid of excess starch. But that also allows you to do the final step, which is steaming the rice. And so right now, the rice is almost cooked through. You just want to finish it by steaming it with the other ingredients so all the flavors can melt together. Forgot to mention this to you guys. Save your shallot oil. You don't need too much, but save it for this part. Also just save the oil for sauteing because you have that kind of wonderful shalloty infused oil. I have 3 tablespoons here. I'm just gonna throw that in the bottom of the pot. And what we're doing here is this is the process of making the tahdig, the burnt crust on the bottom. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of that saffron water. Okay. This is one way to make tahdig, all right? When I say the tahdig can be made from rice, bread, quince, tomatoes, eggplant, potatoes, that's the crust that forms on the bottom. Today we're doing it with lettuce, specifically romaine lettuce, and we're using just the dark green parts. So not this part, just this part. And so we have your shallot oil, your saffron water, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I'm adding a little bit of salt because you have fat in the form of the shallot oil here, so you want the salt in there so everything's flavored. And then next we're gonna just layer the lettuce. I just place it straight down. It's okay if it comes up a little bit from on the sides, and they can overlap. Next, we're gonna start layering. So this is the whole thing about polos, which is rice that's mixed with other ingredients. Chelo in Farsi means plain rice, and that's kind of the plain rice you eat with stews or with kebabs. But in this case, polo is mixed rice. So we're gonna take the rice and we're gonna do a layer and just scatter it on the bottom like this. Next, we're gonna take the herbs, take some of the scallions, more rice. We're kind of building it high, kind of want it to slope like a mountain. I am going to take the back of the spoon. I'm gonna poke a few holes, not at the, you don't want it to hit the very bottom of the pot. And I'm just poking a few holes here, and that's so the steam can escape. And then from there, this is very traditional, where you take a kitchen towel, you place it over, and then you place the lid on top. Okay, we're going to place this over medium heat. This is just to kind of get everything going, to get some steam building, for the tahdig on the bottom to start forming. Once that's gonna go for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then you're gonna reduce it to medium-low and let that cook for another 20 to 25. So it's been about 12 minutes at medium heat. We're gonna turn it down to low. I'm gonna place 6 tablespoons of butter that's just been kind of cubed. They'll melt in the pot, so no worries. Place that back over. And this is gonna go for about 20 to 25 minutes. The herbs are gonna slightly darken. The crust will be fully formed. The butter will be melted, and then we'll plate after that. Okay. Nice. Okay, we have our rice here. The herbs have cooked through. Okay, So we have our remaining saffron water. I'm gonna just scoop about a third of it into the bowl. And what I'm doing here is just making some saffron rice. We're just gonna give this a toss and color the rice. Next, we're just gonna plate this up. You can see that the grains are still intact. They're separated, they're not sticking together. I'm gonna add a bit of the shallots that I have. We're just getting all the rice to the platter, and then we'll kind of break the tahdig apart. I'm gonna scatter some of the saffron rice over. Some more shallots. This is gonna add a nice oniony flavor and crunch to the dish. This is not traditional, but I use a little bit of dried rose petals to finish. And then we'll go back to the pot. So the lettuce is caramelized. You can see the veins of the leaf, and the rice is underneath. I'm gonna try not to do this. This is the finished product. This is sabzi polo, the herby rice with crispy shallots. You have the lettuce crust around. It is typically served with fish, as I mentioned earlier. This I just want to showcase the rice on its own. It's a great side dish or a main dish. And I have a little bit of yogurt sauce. You will serve this with some yogurt sauce. So I'm just gonna plate myself a little bowl. Plate myself a little bowl. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please make this. Let me know your thoughts. It's one of my favorite dishes. I don't know why they're laughing.
When you're serious, it's funny.
I'm a very serious person. Bye, guys. Why so serious? I feel like I've been so serious this whole video, but it's because I'm trying to cover everything and I can't joke. So don't f with me, fellas. You know who said that? Don't f with me, fellas?
Andy Baraghani.
No. Who said it? It's in a movie. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway in Mommy Dearest when she was portraying Joan Crawford. Wow.
That's the same movie with
That's
wire hangers, right?
Really, yeah, that's really gay.